Hello and welcome back to another video. As you guys know, my name is Dalen Anderson. Today we're going to be talking about how the truth will set you free. So yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into today's video. So, Jesus Christ said in the Bible, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." So what does it mean to know the truth? Let's get straight into it. Basically, in life, there's laws behind life. There is laws that govern everything, just how there's laws that govern the heavens, all of the bodies in the heavens and their orbits. There's also laws instituted here on Earth below that actually govern Earth, right? So there's social laws like social interaction laws, social dynamics, moral law, right? If you love your neighbor, you're going to probably get more love back. So there's laws to reality. So to know the truth is to understand the nature of reality. But it's also much more than that. Jesus Christ was also talking about understanding who he was and what he came to do on earth, which was to set us free from sin, from death, and from all of those earthly things that come with living in a fallen world where there is sin and we can make mistakes. So yeah, but because of what Jesus Christ did, we can also learn how to overcome these mistakes. We can become better, right? You can go from not understanding the laws of, let's say, moral conduct, where you're not conducting yourself in a moral way. Maybe you aren't being kind to people, and all of a sudden, you're in this sinful state where you're making mistakes, you're ignoring the laws of reality, the laws of life, and you're having all these social problems, all the social interaction problem. And the source of it, guess where that source is coming from? That source is coming from ignorance of the laws. But because we can overcome our mistakes, and because we can start to work with the laws that govern life, we can go from having bad social skills to having really good social skills, to having really good relationships, to being really kind, outgoing, loving, right? A good, upbeat, kind of happy person that you want to be around. And that goes from working with the laws that institute reality here on earth and in this life. So, basically, knowing the truth is, first of all, knowing who you are, because Jesus Christ also told us, hey, you are a child of the light, right? You're a child of God. So we know that we are children of God. And because of that, there's laws. God has law. And if we want to really achieve the most success and make the most progress in life, we need to work with those laws. And then, of course, second of all, knowing who Jesus Christ is, what he did for us, that sets us free because we can gain a testimony of him, connect to his spirit, and as we get his spirit working in us, we start to work with the laws that institute reality, right? Because there are laws that govern existence. So if you can get the Spirit of God working in you, then you can start to be working with God's laws. So yeah, that's really what it's all about. So yeah, to know the truth is different than to than to basically hear it, right? You can hear it, but if you don't know it and then with that knowledge apply it, so applied knowledge, then you really don't know the truth. Because in order to know the truth, you have to have an understanding. It has to be integrated into you. You start to have to, well, you don't have to, but you basically start to live and have your being and move in that truth. And that truth is what's setting you free. It's what's opening your eyes to the way that life works. Okay? So to know the truth is different than just hearing it. Right? People heard when Jesus Christ was here on earth and he was preaching, people heard what he was saying, but not everybody had ears to hear. Not everybody really took it in to them and allowed that truth to take a place and take seed inside of their heart. So to know the truth is more than just to hear the truth, right? You want to start to apply that knowledge. That understanding will grow, and that will cause you to actually know the truth. And that truth is what will set you free, right? So basically, we are children of God, right? So first and foremost, you need to understand that. And if that's true, then what did God tell us to do? He told us to love God with all of our heart, might, mind, and strength, everything that's in us. But then he also told us to love our neighbors as ourselves. Or even the higher law would be to love our neighbors as Jesus Christ loved us, right? Either way, if you look at that, then all of a sudden, to start working with God's laws here on earth to achieve the most success, the most joy, then you want to, well, obey his commandments. And what is his commandments? To love thy neighbor. So you can start to see if you're not working with God's laws, if you don't know the truth, and you're not loving people, you're not forgiving people, you're not being kind, you're not showing that same love that Christ showed you, right? He forgives us of our mistakes. He forgave me of a lot of my mistakes. So he's forgiving us all the time. So as we love our neighbor, we extend that same grace to other people. And as we extend that grace to other people, we're working with God's laws, we're going to obtain the most success, even if there's trials and tribulation or persecution or anything that comes out of life, just, anything, there's opposition in everything. And so if you start to do a good thing, you're probably going to have opposition of some kind. You'll have to overcome it. But even with all of that going on, once you start working with the laws of God, you're going to start to obtain so much success that opposition won't have any power over you, right? Because God is way more powerful than the enemy. So as we start to work with God's laws, we're loving our neighbor, we're being kind, we're extending the same grace that God extended to us, to other people. All of a sudden, we're going to start to obtain his spirit. And as we obtain his spirit, our life is going to change and transform and really grow and flower into this thing that you never could have imagined on your own, something you couldn't have created on your own. So this is all part of knowing the truth, right? You want that truth to abide in you, because that truth is the Spirit of God. And that truth is liberating, it's freeing, right? It sets you free. It opens your eyes, gives you a sound mind. All of these things, it's working in you. That truth is. It's setting you free. It's bringing God into you, his Spirit into you. And as that Spirit grows, you're going to get more and more and more of that Spirit. And that Spirit is going to be the guiding principle and force behind your life. And if it's God's Spirit, then you're really on the right path, right? If you can get God's Spirit working in you and being the dominating principle in your life, then you're really going to be able to do some pretty amazing things in this life. So yeah, this is all part of knowing the truth. The other part of knowing the truth is to, like I said, to know yourself. You're a child of God. But that's also to really get to know yourself, right? Like on a personal level. What are your skills? What are your talents? What are you good at? What are you bad at? All of that is part of knowing yourself. A lot of those things are put in you for a specific reason. Your skills, your talents. And so by growing those, by giving them life, by breathing life into those gifts that you already have, that's part of knowing yourself. That's part of knowing the truth, right? Is to breathe life into your talents, your gifts, to really use them. Don't just let them sit on a shelf where they're going to get dusty. Take them out and use them, right? Build your talents, build your abilities up. That's part of knowing yourself. So I'd say that part of knowing yourself, part of knowing you're a child of God is examining yourself, right? And that's exactly what Socrates told us to do. Examine yourselves, right? So through the process of examining ourselves, we gain a greater understanding of what our purpose here in this life could be, how we can serve other people, right? If we want to love our neighbor, then we probably want to take those gifts, those natural inclinations that we have, and apply them in some sort of specific and organized way that we can love our neighbor with our talents. Maybe you're a musician. Well, I love listening to music. Some of my favorite musicians, I 100% consider it love that they create this artistic piece for me to listen to it. You know, that's a form of love. That's creation. That's love. And so, yeah, examining yourself is a great way to know yourself better, to know the truth. And by knowing the truth, by knowing yourself, by knowing your talents and your gifts, you can then integrate that into obeying God's laws, His commandments, to love Him and to love your neighbor. And through the application of doing that, you're going to start to experience a lot more joy, success, right? You're getting God's Spirit in you. You're changing. It's transforming you. It's getting straight to the center, the core of who you are. So, examining yourself is part of basically knowing yourself, knowing you're a child of God. What's your purpose here? You know, what are you good at? Do you want to start a family? That's super commendable. That's a beautiful thing to start a family. You know, maybe you want to start a family and start a business. Another beautiful thing. So figure out what you're good at, what your purpose is. That is knowing the truth. That's knowing who you are. So yeah, examine yourself. Another part of knowing the truth is study, right? Study knowledge. So when you're reading a good book, you can start to expand your mind. And as you expand your mind a little bit, when the mind expands to a new concept or principle, it never goes back to that old way anymore, right? It's changed forever. So as you get a new concept in your mind is kind of like expanding and growing. Your intelligence is growing. So to know the truth, well, study. Start to learn. Again, what are you good at? Maybe you are like mathematics. And it's not always what you're good at, too, because you can train yourself to be good at anything. You can basically convince your mind that you're good at something, even if you don't feel like you are at the start. And through the process of convincing your mind, you can get good at something. But still, what are you good at? What are your natural inclinations? What do you want to learn about? start learning about those things are going to take you into a whole new realm in your life where all of a sudden these new ideas are expanding your mind, the way you look at reality, the way you work with reality, the way you work with the laws of reality. And through the process of gaining knowledge and studying, all of a sudden your life is different. Right? You're going from one place to a whole new place. You're becoming a completely new person through what's happening inside of you, and that's through the process of education, right? Developing from within, knowledge, gaining understanding, wisdom. That's going to come from study. For me, that looks like the Holy Bible. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so I also study the Book of Mormon every single day. Right? I study a whole bunch of books. I got a bunch of books over here, a whole pile of books over here. I'll just show you really quick of all these books right here. And this is just, they're all stacked up right now. But this is just an example of what it looks like. I sit down right here. I meditate every day. I put a little pad right here and I meditate. I pray. I read. I study. And then I get back up and I go at my day and start working on stuff and start working at my goals. And yeah, through the process of studying knowledge, my life is transforming, changing. I'm going from one place to a whole new place. And if you become a different person, your life is going to become a different life. Your whole life is going to change, right? This is why people can go from complete and total utter poverty to insane wealth and riches, if that's your goal. But even if your goal is just like service to humankind, which may include also wealth and riches as a side effect, like you can go from poverty, from a state of financial poverty, from a state of spiritual poverty, right? You're not spiritually sound, to financial abundance, spiritual groundedness, having yourself rooted in the truth. You can change, you can grow, you can transform. That's the nature of life. Okay, that's part of the laws of life. We didn't come here just to stay the same. We came here to become something bigger than we used to be. To grow, to expand. So yeah, studying knowledge, a wonderful way to know the truth. Wonderful way to know the truth. Another way to know the truth, I talked a little bit about prayer and meditation a second ago, but we're going to go ahead and put both of those right here. Prayer / meditation. Okay, so prayer / meditation. This is another prime example of something that's just going to completely change your life. You're going to know the truth better about yourself. Through the process of meditation, you come to a greater understanding of the inward causes, your thought processes, your patterns, right? Because at the end of the day, we're creatures of thought. As humans, we're creatures of thought. So through the awareness that comes through consistent meditation, you gain an understanding of yourself, the causes behind what you do, your motivations, your fears, and you're able to actually overcome a lot of things. Oh, that fear isn't even real. That's an illusion created by this part of me that is concerned maybe something bad might happen. And you're able to, through the process of meditation, literally change who you are, transform yourself from the inside out. So that one's huge. The other thing is prayer, right? We are children of God. Jesus Christ, like I said at the start, told us, what did he say? That we're children of the light, right? God the Father. We're children of God. So because of that, we can pray. We can get answers. We can be guided. We can get closer to his Spirit. And again, get his Spirit working in us. And get that Spirit abiding in us and us in him. And through that process, through the process of true communion and prayer with God, we're going to come to know ourselves better. We're going to come to know the truth better. We're going to get insight into things we need to change, things we need to integrate. We're going to know the truth more, and it will set us free. It will liberate us through the process of prayer. Okay? So yeah, prayer is a very sacred thing. And through that process of prayer, we connect to God, and through connecting to God, we're going to know the truth better. So yeah, prayer, meditation. These are just a few things, right? Just a few ways to know the truth better. On top of these, I'd probably add like moral conduct as just one of them. So one way to gain a knowledge of the truth is through the application of the truth, right? Love is a verb. People don't realize this, but it's an action word. To love somebody is action. You take action to love somebody. For example, if you're a child and your parents have chores, one way to show that love to your parents is to do those chores. Yeah, maybe you want to play video games, but just set aside those video games for a minute. Go do your chores. Your mom is going to be so glad the dishes are done or whatever, or the house is swept, or your dad is going to be so thankful the garage is swept, or whatever it is. Go do that chore. Go do that thing. Express that love. And you're going to feel love for your parents. You're actually even going to feel a deeper love for yourself too, because you did something that was good, something that was helpful to the world, and that feels good. And so yeah, through the application of moral conduct, we actually abide in truth. We become more morally capable through exercising it. Anything that you focus on, anything you put energy on, is going to grow. It's going to expand. So if you grow your moral conduct, if you start treating people kindly, if you start treating people with love, with forgiveness, if you stop fault finding and start looking for the good in people, start forgiving people, start seeing people where they're at, they're just ignorant of this truth. Start to understand, give compassion, forgiveness towards people. Through the application of moral conduct, you're going to become, your capacity to be a moral person will grow because you focused on it. You gave it energy. You gave it life. And so you'll actually gain a personal testimony of the truth that having good moral conduct is the best way to live life. It's the best way to be happy. It's the best way to have good relationships. It's the best way to have the most success. People don't want to hear this, but a lot of times people have this idea in their mind about people that have money that they're evil. But actually, if you go study and you go look into it, there are the people that are evil that have money. That is true. It does happen. But there's also a greater majority of people that are super, super honest people. And that's why they're trusted with so much money. Because they serve people, they're honest, they don't cheat people, and they're rewarded for it. And in our minds, people think other than that, but it's just not true. There are the people that definitely take advantage of other people, that do have money, that do things in shady ways. It's true, right? But I'd say there's a great majority of people that are completely honest people that have a lot of money because they figured out a good way to serve a lot of people, and they figured out a way to provide a lot of value, and they honestly paid their employees, they honestly paid their taxes, they did everything as honest as they possibly could, even if they made mistakes along the way learning how to do those things, right? Because I've made mistakes along the way, a lot of them. Some of them I'm still overcoming, figuring out, right? But yeah, I will tell you that when I created my other YouTube channel, it was just because I honestly wanted to help people, honestly wanted to create content, that I was given back a great reward financially, spiritually, for my service to other people, right? That service to other people paid me back. So good moral conduct is going to give you a personal understanding of morality. Just like how prayer and meditation is going to give you an understanding of yourself and God, and also a greater understanding of what prayer is, and a greater understanding of what meditation is. Also, studying knowledge, again, what you focus on expands. If you study and you're growing in knowledge, it's just going to grow and grow and grow. So that principle applies to all of these. That what you focus on expands and it's going to grow. What you give your attention to is going to grow. So that's why I tell you to do these things, right? Moral conduct. But it could also be something as simple as eating healthy. And I do pretty good about this one, but I will say, I ate way more candy than I should have the past couple weeks, so I'm working on this one. But yeah, this could be a way to know the truth better, because you're going to start to feel better. In the Bible, we read that our body is a temple. Our body is a gift from God. So as we do our best to eat healthy, to eat healthy food, to take that into our body, we're taking care of our bodies, we're going to get a better understanding of truth. Right? We're going to be able to understand things better, spiritual things. Things that were normally hidden to us are now being revealed to us through eating healthy, taking care of our bodies. And this is true for anything. And I know every person has things that they're working on, things that they can do better at. But the more that you're able to control yourself, the more that you're able to overcome certain things and have self-discipline, self-control to do the right choice, the healthier choice, when it comes to eating healthy, when it comes to moral conduct, right, the morally correct choice. The more that you do those things, the better you're going to be at doing them. Like I said earlier, it's just going to grow. And so even if everybody has their things that they're working on, everybody has their things that they have struggled with, we're able to overcome that. We're able to make the right choice. And so the more that you make those right choices, the more you're going to have the truth revealed to you. The more you're going to see the nature of reality, the way things work. So the other thing that we're told is that the natural man doesn't receive the things of God, right? If we read in the Bible, we're told that the things of God are not known by the natural man, right? Only spiritual things are known by spiritual, and natural things are known by the natural. So what does that mean? That means that basically as we are doing those things that are natural, that the natural man would do, as we do those things that aren't spiritual, then we're going to start to see through that lens. But if we do those things that are spiritual, if we do those things that are heavenly, then we're going to start to see through that lens, and we're going to start to have a spiritual lens instead of a natural lens, right? And so we can all of a sudden receive the things of God. We can receive the Spirit, because only the things of God knows the things of God. But, so you want to get the things of God in you by choosing them, by doing them, by becoming those things through active and deliberately choosing those things. So, the last thing I want to talk about today for knowing the truth, and then we're going to call it a day. The last thing today for knowing the truth is this very, very simple principle. So we're going to go ahead and draw this pattern here. Okay? Now you've probably seen this before, right? You've almost probably definitely seen this pattern before. Okay? Now this pattern, what a lot of people don't know about this pattern holds a lot of truth. So if we do this, we can do as above, so below. Okay? So basically, the top of this is the same as the bottom. Okay? Because that's the shape of the pattern, right? It's the Star of David. If you guys can't see, I'll get the camera just a little bit closer here for you today. Just for the last bit of this. Because this is actually what I wanted to talk about, but I decided not to until the end because I just wanted to make sure I present this how I want to. So as above, so below. If you look at this pattern here, this holds so much truth, right? At the top here, you have a triangle, but at the bottom, you also have the same triangle. Now, I didn't draw it perfectly geometrically correct. If I would have, every side would have been perfectly equal. I obviously didn't. But just for the purpose of demonstration, you can see how this top part is a mirror image of this bottom part. As above, so below. As below, so above, right? So, when it comes to knowing the truth, when it comes to knowing who you are, we read in the Bible that we are made in the image of God, right? Man is made in the image of God. So we'll just put man here. So below, above is God, right? So man is made in the image of God. As above, so below. Okay, so there's one thing to understand. Another thing to understand with this is that if it's as above, as below, so we're made in the image of God, if we're made in the image of God, then we also have a lot of God's characteristics. Now, I'm not saying we're on the same scale as God, right? I'm not saying that we have his power, right? I can't govern and control entire heavenly bodies and stuff in my current state. So I don't have every power that he has in my current state, right? But I am saying that we're an image of, we're a reflection of God. And so those capacities that he has, the power to create, the power to think, the power to invent, the power to use your mind, right? We have all of those things because as above, so below. Now, are we on the same scale? No, you'd have to be crazy to say that you were. But with that being said, you can see the connection here. You can see how us being made in the image of God and having an understanding of this truth that's found in this symbol. You can find this truth in this symbol, as above, so below. To have that understanding, it gives you an understanding of truth. It gives you knowledge. It gives you understanding. It sets you free to know that you truly are the divine offspring of deity, and because of that, you have a lot of his gifts, a lot of his abilities, just on a different scale. And you can work with those, you can grow those abilities, right? You can focus on them, give them energy, expand them, grow them into something bigger than they are right now. So just as above, so below, well, what does this mean? This means this is really good news for us. Because if we weren't created in the image of God, think how little bit of creative beauty we'd probably express. But because we are, we express a lot of creative beauty. And we have a lot of unique beauty that's in us because of our divine identity as children of God. So yeah, as above, so below. We are made in the image of God. And this principle is so true for so many different things, right? It's so true. For example, if you want to be a good parent here down on earth, well, down here on earth, God is love. We learn that in the Bible, that God is love. So to be a good parent down here on earth, we probably want to love our children, right? We want to do the same thing our Father in heaven does to us, to our earthly children down here below. So there's just so much wisdom you can get from understanding the single pattern and the single truth. And yeah, so that's just one thing of knowing the truth, letting it set you free, having it set you free, understanding it, working with the laws that God has instituted in reality so that you can actually maximize your effectiveness and really get God's Spirit working in you. And through the process of His Spirit working in you, you are going to become a different person. You're going to go from a place of not understanding, of ignorance and suffering, into a place of understanding and liberation, spiritual freedom, strength, focus, poise. You're going to get that spirit that you're looking for. But yeah, it comes from working with God's laws. You can't ignore God's laws. If you try to do that, you're just going to become lawless. And you're going to experience a lot of suffering, and you probably won't know exactly where the suffering is coming from because you're not trying to abide in truth. And sin causes blindness, spiritual blindness. So it makes it hard for you to see. But when you abide in the truth, you can see. It sets you free, it opens your eyes, and you can actually see. You can understand what is causing what. And you're going to reduce your suffering significantly. So when Jesus said to know the truth, that it will set you free, He meant it. He really meant that it will set you free, but that you have to know it. And to know it, you have to apply it. And to apply it, you got to study it. And to study it, you got to sit down and open a book or pray or meditate or whatever. However you're going to obtain truth, there's a lot of different ways, and you want to use all of them as much as you can. So that's my video for the day. 37 minutes long. Normally we go like an hour or two, but I've got stuff I'm doing today, so I can't. I did a stream for my other channel, so I can't. But I'm kind of working on doing some changes. Not big changes or anything, but I've got some cool things coming. So thank you for tuning in. I love and appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you in future videos here on the channel. Hope you learned something. And as always, peace be unto you.